Hi, I'm Winston Binch, Chief Brand and Experience Officer at GALE, coming at you live from Sport Beach with Selema Masekela. You do everything, man. Host, producer, journalist, activist, and now author.
Yeah.
And you also just hosted an incredible panel with Conrad Anker and Polly Daria-Vietti. What are your takeaways from that talk?
You know, first of all, just this whole sports speech setup is incredible. Like the diversity of subject matter across the landscape of sport and being able to have a central place to have these conversations here has been awesome. But with Conrad and Pauly, it was awesome because I think when we think about the conversation of sustainability, we think about it strictly from an environmental standpoint without thinking about like the people, like the core consumer, and access to the outdoors. The more that we're able to create access and give people the opportunity to celebrate and take up space in the outdoors, the more we as a society, we don't have a choice but to care about sustainability. So I just love that we were able to speak about on both ends of it, right? From the environmental side, but also in this big need to create more connection and more access for people to experience and live the outdoor lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have any empathy or care about an issue if you don't have that relevancy, right?
Yeah, it seems foreign to you. If you're talking about things that are taking place in spaces that traditionally you've been told are not for you, like you're gonna have a tough time digesting it, you know. And I think the thing that people forget is that marginalized folk, at the end of the day, like those without are the ones who are affected by this story of environment and climate change more than anyone. Because right, they don't have the protective measures and the barriers and the ability to sort of dodge these things. They're experiencing it at a first-hand level. So yeah, just being able to have a larger conversation about what sustainability and the environmental conversation looks like in connection with sports and the responsibility of these brands to protect and preserve the playing fields that we enjoy and get so much out of.
Yeah, you come in contact with a lot of brands. I mean, what I'm sure you're asked a lot, like where do you start, and you know, how do you approach this kind of area?
Yeah, I think Pauly said it best. You know, for brands, you have to find something that you're close to and aligns with the products and the communities that you already are playing in. These days, as brands are seem to be scrambling to want to get credit for maybe approaching or tackling different social issues, many times they don't spend time researching, they don't spend time talking to people who are actually in them, and so a lot of the work that they end up doing is more performative and box checking. So I think with brands that I deal with, I always just say like, hey, figure out how this is a cause that you want to do for a long time, as opposed to something that fits into a brand mandate for what your brand looks like in the next 18 months. Because if you think that you're going to be able to make a difference in 6, 12, 18 months of campaigning, as opposed to like building it into the culture of the DNA of your brand, you're fooling yourselves.
Yeah, so you have to be authentic to who you are.
Got to be genuine.
And you have to make a commitment. Like a commitment isn't just like we're going to do something and then step away after we do it once.
It's the same as when you're developing product, right? You work hard, you have a bunch of meetings, you make choices, patterns, how much, etc., and then you invest in the fact that like we've created something that consumers not going to have a choice but to engage with and build relationship with us through this product. And I think it's the same thing. It has to be the same mindset in how you approach the causes that you decide to take on as a brand, because the audience is going to smell if they're going to be like, what are you doing here? It's like, you know, that there's the saying at school, like, you don't even go here. Like,
you don't even go here.
You don't even go here. And I think that's really the way for brands to do so and not have to worry about getting called out.
Yeah. So, I mean, your connection to the outdoors came through surf, and you recently published a book. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, surfing really changed my life. When my parents moved to Southern California when I was a teenager, I moved to a place called Carlsbad, There were no kids that looked like me, but all the kids there surfed. So I'm like, all right, can't beat them, join them. And it changed my life. There was a freedom in who I got to become through surfing and how I got to express myself that I've been addicted to now for 3 decades and counting. But this idea of surfing, it being an odd place for me to show up in, and people being like, oh, I didn't know that you guys did this. That's cool that you're here. I don't want that. You know, I wanted them to figure out some ways to help dictate and push a larger conversation about what surf culture actually looks like. That it's not just this idea of what we're told by brands that come out of Southern California in Orange County. And so we did a book called Afro Surf that really showcases surf culture, but through an entirely African lens. You have more surfable coastline than any other place in the world. Usually we watch in surf movies as, you know, pro surfers, you know, will go on an adventure, discover a wave, and then you just have like the indigenous native people like cheering for them on the beach, and they're out. This book shows you that surf culture has different meanings across the continent, and it's influenced by the local history of that place and that region. And so how surfing feels and looks like in Senegal as opposed to Mozambique or South Africa or Ghana or Morocco is just, it's all different. And the history of surf culture going back to like the 17th century in Ghana, which is something that people are like, wait, what? Like, oh, there's written recorded history of explorers witnessing Africans riding waves. That, not to say that we like, it doesn't go against the Polynesian narrative that we have, but it's yes and. Like, yes, this was also, why wouldn't other people in other parts of the world also be trying to pursue joy in riding waves? So the book it's been really cool to see the way people have responded to the book, and if I felt like if we could do something that could make people more curious about the continent as a result, because it is so rich and is so influential in the world, then the better. And I'm psyched on the way it's been received.
That's awesome, man. Stories change minds, and I want to thank you for doing it, man, and showing us the way, flipping the script, and continue to push the envelope and do awesome things.
I'm just grateful to be here, man.
All right, thanks,
really
man.
grateful.
Thank you.